right, so let's go ahead and get started. Somebody else may show up, but it is okay. My name is Ryan Huffman. I'm the moderator of the Cover Letters Room today. I am part of the first year Experience Mentor Program, and I'm here with the amazing Mark Nelson, who teaches Music Fundamentals and Student 100, and the amazing Matthew Medeiros.
That's right, you got it.
Who teaches Biology Fundamentals. They will be the main presenters of this today. And does everybody want to give them or take a second to give us an introduction on who you are and what brings you to the Cover Letter Room? We'll start with Mariana.
Hi, my name is Mariana. I am studying business and this is my first year as a Pima student. And my reason for attending today is to get a review of what a cover letter is, because it's been a while since I've been in the career cafe. So, yeah.
Beautiful and welcome. Maritza, are you able to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am Maritza Nunez. I am studying for business administration. This is my second semester. Spring was actually, no, my third, because I started in spring. And then the reason is just like a refresher for me.
Wonderful and welcome. Elizabeth?
Hello, I am Elizabeth Moreno, and this is my third semester here at Pima. And I am studying public health. And the reason why I'm attending today is because I need to review what the cover letters are and more about it.
Wonderful. We're glad to have you. Elodin?
Hi, my name is Eliden. You can call me Ellie though. I'm studying human resource management. It's more like a review pretty much, and to get learn more tips and everything for a cover letter.
Wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and stop presenting for just a quick second, if I can get this stuff out of my way. And if you have one of those amazing creative coffee mugs, feel free to hold it up so that I can get a screenshot of you. And let's see if I can get my buttons right while I do this. Come on, are you doing it? I love the emojis. Okay, I think I got it. Let me do a quick double check. No, that was taking a picture of something else. Why? Let me try this one more time. There we go. That's the screen flash I was looking for. All right. I thank you all very much. Let me go ahead and go back into my present mode. All right, and with that, I will go ahead and let Mark take it away.
Well, welcome everybody, and thanks for being here. The cover letter is a document that you most normally use in conjunction with something like a resume that you would either email or mail to a potential employer. And we have this slide right here that pretty much gives you the information that you're looking for. And let's just look on the right side first and kind of give you what the format would look like. You want to have, of course, a date assigned to it. So my advice is when you're ready to send it, then put the date on. Don't put the date on and then don't send it for a month. And then, of course, your contact information and the information that you have available for who is hiring you. And then some kind of greeting. It doesn't necessarily need to say, dear hiring manager. It might say to whom it may concern if you don't have any contact information, or it might just say whoever the person is that you have, so that you're being more personal about it. So you want to tell the hiring manager something about who you are. And then you want to tell them the experiences that you have. And finally, you want to tell them how to get a hold of you and thank them for the opportunity to apply for this job. It's very simple in concept. The hard part is, I found through a lot of experience of being a hiring manager as a department head and as a dean, that brevity does matter. You want to have no more than one page. You want it to be clearly defined what you're saying, and you want to have like a 12-point font so that they can see it. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to say I'm going to have one page and then make the font so small that they can't read it. So it's not about saying everything there is to know about you. It's about introducing yourself. And I think that's the biggest concept I want to put across to you. So when you look at the left side, this is the formatting. This is the formal part, which is you want to left align things. You don't want to put it in the middle. You don't want to put it on the right. And so on your Word program or whatever program you're using to write with, make sure it's left aligned with a generous margin. Usually it's an inch. And then when you look at what need to be done, let's look at the fourth bullet point. Align your greeting. Use neutral language. This is the new world that we live in. We don't want to say, dear Mr. or dear Mrs., dear Miss. You want to have something that either identifies them by name or hiring manager or committee or to whom it may concern, so that you are starting off on the right foot and saying things in a way that is professional. Then the body of the cover has 3 paragraphs or so. It might end up being 4 or maybe even 5 if they're short. The example that we're going to show you is going to be a little longer than 3, but 3 is a good way in which to shoot for to have a really well-designed cover letter. Then at the end, some kind of ending. Sincerely is a universally accepted. You could say sincerely yours, but I wouldn't get too far into flowery language. It's a business letter. You want to come across as being a professional that is interested in this position, and you want to keep it down to no more than 1 page. That's really, I think, the biggest key. I've been able to interview people after culling through 100 cover letters. And believe me, when you're on letter number 51, you're not looking for anything other than, did they do what they needed to do? And if it's too long, like it's 3 pages long, I may not even read the second page at that point. Just telling you from experiences of being an actual hiring manager. So I think that pretty much covers the this slide right here. Ryan, do you have anything else to add, or Matthew?
No.
Not for this slide.
I think you've hit it pretty well.
Mhm.
Are we going to ask questions at the time or move on? Okay, let's go to the next slide then. Here it is. So this is an actual cover letter. And if you follow along, let's look at the right side first again so you can see what the text looks like. So we have a date at the top. The Jorge, a student, decided to put together like a stationery, and that's perfectly acceptable if you want to have a stationery look. You might even want to have a special paper like 25% rag, like you would be writing a dissertation, but it's not necessary. In most cases, you will probably email it rather than send it out by hand in a letter format. So the look is more important than what the paper actually feels like. Notice that it has a full date, full address, and what it's about right at the very top. It's about the Therapeutic Day program, position support specialist 1 position. Notice that they're using Dear Hiring Manager. That's a perfectly acceptable format if nothing else is part of the job description. Notice that it has an introductory paragraph that I'm very interested with, great enthusiasm. Those are 2 words that you could use. And then it goes on to say, I have this background. Third paragraph has some experience that is relevant to the position. Then they added a few other things that may have been a specific requirement, like I have a driver's license. In other words, I might have to drive somewhere. I don't have any convictions or felons. I mean, one would hope that that's not part of your cover letter, but this person covered their bases by saying, no, I'm not a felon. I'm not a serial killer. Please hire me. And finally, then their contact information with sincerely, Jorge, a student, and then did the business letter, which is enclosures, resume references. These are the other things that would likely go in addition to your cover letter in the packet that you're sending, whether by email or by actual envelope. When you look at the left side, it's giving you what the bullet points tell you to do. But I always like to start with an actual example and work backwards. It's the way I just think, I guess. So you're introducing yourself. You want to catch the manager's attention. Remember that you're not likely the only person applying for this position. So you need to stand out in a very short cover letter way of doing business, because you're not going to get a lot of words to say what you need to say. So pick them carefully. Look at why you have the experience you have. Look at the experience that is relevant to the position. You really don't want to waste their time by saying something entirely different. If you're applying for this position as a therapeutic day program support specialist, probably it's not a good idea to say, and I spent 2 years working at McDonald's too, because it's not relevant to this position. So keep it relevant, I think, is going to really zero in on your accomplishments, why you are qualified for the job and why they should hire you. And then when you look at the paragraph 2, one of the things that's can be used sparingly is a bold or in italics. And I think that's important to note. When you look at the right-hand side, this particular person is bolding the actual position. And that's the only thing that they have bolded for the entire letter, because they want to keep coming back to, I'm applying for this specific position. The reason why that could be important in a hiring manager's desk is they may have 4 positions open, and you don't want to have them looking at your application and put it in the wrong pile. This is going to guarantee that they're going to keep you in the right place, which is this particular position. And then you don't need to actually repeat your resume. I think it goes without saying, if you only got a page, you don't have time to do anything other than my specific requirements that qualifies me for this position. I want to be interested in doing it, and thank you very much. Here's my contact information. When you look at the bottom of the left side, there is another link there called action verbs, and perhaps at some point before the end of this session, you'll have access to that so that you can use appropriate verbs that give you the sense of professionalism and very direct contact, and not beating around the bush, not trying to obscure what you're talking about, but being very clear. The sentence length itself should probably not be very long. Use direct sentences, and not sentences that have a lot of prepositional phrases and other things that are muddying what the context is. Really, this is laser focused, in my opinion. Okay, that's about what I have to say about what the actual letter might look like as an example. And we will have some other information that will appear in the chat that will help you with some other resources. And there are some resources right there. So the 2 websites, the cover letter website from GCF Global is a place where you can actually try out writing a cover letter. It gives you the steps. The Pinterest website has several points, like 5 good reasons for writing a cover letter this way, or points to remember when you're writing a cover letter. So these are good overall resources for you to look at and probably bookmark on your internet browser, so that you can come back and look at those at another time. Matthew, Ryan, anything else that I can turn the floor over to you for a minute?
Well, I know last time that I was doing one of these career cafes, something they pointed out that one of the other hiring managers has seen is make sure you're getting your details right when you're doing cover letters. Each one should be fairly unique to the business. So if you're applying to several businesses, make sure that you adjust the names. Because one thing they pointed out was, I guess, that they sent a cover letter to Pima talking about how they're trying to reply to the University of Arizona. Things like that will get you disqualified pretty quickly if you put the wrong information. And you should always do some extra research behind the scenes, know your business, know what it is that they're looking for, and try to hit those points as well. So really say, this is why I would fit into your culture. This is why I'm the best candidate for the job. Don't try to go with one generic cover letter that works for everywhere. That doesn't work out as well as saying, I really want to work here, and here's why I'm the best.
If you go to the bottom and scroll over the word chat, if you haven't already done so, you can click that on, and these two resources are listed for you in the chat, and you can just click them on and they'll appear and into your browser, and then you can save them so that because you may not be able to get access after this chat is over.
Oh, I just wanted to mention that, are you able to actually, Ryan, are you able to display something I have on my computer or no?
I can stop screen sharing and let you present for a second.
Okay, okay. No, I just wanted to say in crafting that letter, in terms of putting together the content, I'd go like this. I'd probably sit down. I have here as an example. I just pulled this up. This is Indeed. You can go through and look at a variety of positions that you might be interested in applying for in the future, and then just kind of go through the job description. Do the research, right? Spend some time and do the research and understand the focus of the company that you would like to work for. But in crafting that letter, to really get yourself to stand out, I would actually go through, and you see how they have a list of managerial responsibilities. In this case, I went with a business type of position because a couple of you mentioned about business degrees that you're pursuing. And you could see that they have an outline here, bulleted list of responsibilities, managerial skills. And what I would do is make a list, and then you put down on each bullet where you think you could fit in, something that you've done, your experiences that would fit that particular bullet, all right? And then make that as a focus of your content. You put that into the content of the letter to show that you have experiences that can fill these particular responsibilities, these managerial responsibilities. If you're doing this particular, if you're applying for this particular job, don't forget, nowadays, computer work, doing things virtually is an experience. It's something that you should actually explain and show that, because the future of work will likely be done virtually for a lot of different jobs, and showing that you are experienced in doing this kind of thing, like it says here, webinars and maybe virtual meetings would be something that you want to include into that content. Okay, so this would, again, just to cover your bases, is just make a list of what the organization is looking for in terms of skills, and then you go through and you make a checklist of things that you are capable of doing, and always say, and somewhere in there, that you are capable of learning more than this. Okay, that you are a capable person and that you have the ability to learn new skills, right? And that's something you want to put as part of your content. Okay, anyone else want to add to that? Mark, Ryan?
I think that was beautifully said.
Okay,
Do we
thank you.
have any questions from you all?
Has anybody actually gone to one of these sites and looked at jobs that are out there?
Yeah, I have. I've just looked at jobs like for usually for fast food and stuff. That's all I've ever really tried to apply to.
Do they require a cover letter for that job?
Sometimes.
That's good. Then you have some experience.
Yeah, me as well. I've gone into Indeed and other search engines for jobs and stuff, and one of their main requests is to do a cover letter. With resume, it comes easy because it's what I've experienced, what I've done. But when it comes to cover letters, that's where I would get stuck because I wasn't sure what I needed to put on there or how to get things started.
Right. The cover letter is pretty much just an introduction to who you are and why you're interested in this position. That's why it's not very large. The hiring manager will expect your resume to have much more detail of your literal chronological experiences, whether they be related to this position or just in general, a work history. Ryan, what's next?
It's just down to questions and conversation at this point. We've got another 3 minutes before I start shuffling people to their next room of interest.
All right.
So I know looking at, let me go ahead and share this again. I see that they gave us some other questions on this. I know like one thing that I've learned in my life is always have buddies who are better writers than you, who can proofread whatever you write, because I don't know how many times I've written a cover letter and I've seen like the same mistake is on there over and over and over, but I've never seen it until I start passing it off to somebody else who goes, did you know that you misspelled this word? So always, always, always have somebody that can proofread your stuff. It comes in handy and can save you from so many stumbles.
I think another strategy to go along with that is read your cover letter out loud to yourself or maybe even to somebody else, and read it with the intent that you want to get hired. And you might find that some of the tone of your letter could be improved on once you read it out loud. And I think it's a skill a lot of people are not using to their full potential because we tend to not be an out loud society anymore. We tend to just do things by typing or saying something into a computer program. But I do believe that does make a difference. It puts your personality into the cover letter when you read it out loud, and maybe you can make a few minor adjustments so that it really brings that out in you. We're hiring people, not machines.
Yeah, don't hesitate to go online and look at examples too. I mean, there's so many examples in Google. Just search cover letter examples and just read through as many as you can. Of course, don't copy anybody. This is your work. You're going to be creating your own bio sketch, so to speak, in that letter. But by reading other examples, it'll help you craft a decent letter, so to speak.
All right, so at this point, I'm going to start getting everybody geared up to go to your next room of interest. And I did toss into chat a feedback survey. This feedback survey only needs to be done once through your entire time here through Career Cafe, but it does help us out. I believe that Renee gave you all a pre-survey to fill out. This is going to look kind of similar, but it is different. So if you wouldn't mind taking a moment to do that. And if